So we're going to do a really gentle sequence today that is for anybody that feels really achy, anybody that's pregnant, anybody that just really wants to slow down and move very gently, listening to the breath, listening to your body. You could do this as a warm-up first thing in the morning or just before you go to bed, or as a warm-up before doing a more intensive session. So to start with, come into a wide leg child's pose. So have your knees so that they're wider than your hips. Come to sit back on your heels, or if you can't get down to your heels, have a cushion. And then walk the hands forward. If you can't get your forehead onto the floor, then you can have a prop, or you can use your palms, your fists to rest your head. So we're going to take a few breaths here to start. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose. Feel your stomach expanding into the space between your thighs. And then feel your hips rooting down, relaxing and softening. And again. On your next inhale, come up slowly in onto all fours. Check that your wrists are directly below your shoulders and that your knees are hip distance apart, directly below your hips. Spread your fingers wide, have a little bend in your elbows, and then inhale, dip the stomach, curve the spine, look up. Exhale, curl and look towards your knees. Do this a couple more times. You can close your eyes. And then come to a flat back. Curl your toes under and walk your hands back so that you come to sit on your heels. This might be quite intense on your knees. You could have something propping you up. You could have something cushioning your knees. But the more you sit back, the better stretch it is for the backs of the feet. So take your hands onto your thighs, and you're going to inhale, roll your shoulders up, and exhale down. And then on your next inhale, come up, raise the hips up, and uncurl the toes. And we're just going to do the same. Roll the shoulders and open across the chest. Take your hands as if they're going into the back pockets of your trousers, and then gently push the hands and move the hips forward. Go very slowly. Use your hands as a support, and then squeeze your shoulder blades together, open across the chest. As you exhale, come back down onto hands and knees. And we'll come back again to cat-cow. Come to a flat back, and then we're just going to stretch the wrists. So come onto one hand, rotate the wrists one way and the other, and then the other side. And then from here, curl the toes under, and you're going to walk your hands back, lift your hips up, and come to a wide leg forward fold. Take the weight into the fronts of the feet. Have your feet as wide as you want. You can have them at the sides of the mat, and you bring the weight forward. Let your head go loose. If you want to, you can take opposite elbows. If you want to, you can take your hands under your feet. And relax here. Close your eyes. You can move gently from side to side. And then release the hands if you have them in any sort of bind. And you're going to very slowly lower the hips and come into a squat. So probably most people, their heels will come up. You can get something to put under them to support them. Have them as wide as you want, and you're just going to lower down and open through the hips. Exhale, roll up. Head heavy. Inhale here, and then exhale, come back down into a squat. And one more time. Exhale down. If you are able to, bring your hands into a prayer position and gently push the elbows into the knees to open more. Don't just drop into the hips. Have a slight tension against dropping into it, so you can slightly lift up. Okay? Particularly if you have very open hips. Take a few breaths here. This is quite a strong pose. And then place the hands down, and you're going to come back up once more into a forward fold. From here, walk the hands forward and come into downward dog. You can move the hips from side to side. And then come to a stationary position. And then from here, come down onto your hands and knees again. And this time, just move your hips from side to side. And then from here, I want you to pick up your right leg and place it where the right hand was. So we're going to come into just a low lunge, but I want the legs to be quite wide apart so that they're in their own lane, so you have plenty of space here. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, see if you can come a little bit forward. Don't drop into the hips, have a slight squeeze between the thighs. Reach up. If you want to, you can open the hands, bend the elbows. You could take the hands to the back of the head. And then come down. Take that knee back. Gently move the hips from side to side. And then with the other side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend. And then come down. Step that foot back. Rock the hips gently from side to side. Curl the toes under and come up once again. We're just going to do this chest opening again. If you have the space, then come into camel. So if you want to try camel, squeeze the elbows together, push the hips forward, and then you can go further back until you can take your hands to the heels. Squeeze the shoulders open, push the hips forward, and let the head go back. Once you're finished, bring your hands to the lower back to support it before coming up. Come down onto your heels, and then you're going to come and sit into a cross-legged position or whatever's comfortable. And we'll just come to a slight side stretch. So take the right hand out to the side of the hip. Inhale, reach the left arm up, and you're going to exhale, stretch over. You can take the arm out. If you can come onto your forearm, great. And you're just gently pushing your hand or your forearm into the floor to get more of a stretch down the side of the body. You don't want to be curving down. You're trying to open the chest towards the sky. If you have a block or a pillow that you want to sit on to give you more space, then great. A few deep inhales and exhales here. Feel your ribs opening. Inhale up. And exhale to the other side. Inhale up. And then from here, we're going to come into a wide leg position. So you probably will want a block here. I don't have one, otherwise I would use one. But you probably want a block to raise the hips up and to give you more space. Okay? Either way, put your hands behind your hips first of all. Pick your hips up and see if you can roll them forward a little bit. Keep your feet flexed the whole time. Engage your thigh muscles. Try pulling up. And then bring the hands in front of you. If you feel like you are rolling back, then see if you can raise the hips a bit more. Or keep your hands here for support. This is fine. If you have a bit more space, then bring your hands in front and walk the hands forward. Take as long as you can in this position. Check your breathing, make sure you're not holding your breath. And then walk your hands around to the left side. Bring the arm up to come into a side stretch. Exhale back to the middle and come over to the other side. And come back to center. One big inhale and exhale. See if you can fold a bit further forward. Keeping the feet flexed. And then come back up. From here, bend the knees. And you're going to come into, I can't remember what it's called, but you basically want to have your knee on top of your ankle and the ankle on top of the knee. This probably won't be possible for lots of people, so what I suggest is having cushions or something in between. So you can have a cushion here, here, also sitting up. You can have it more like this. The aim is to get a good stretch here, okay? So from here, just take a few breaths. Have your spine straight, your shoulders relaxed. If you want to, you can see how it feels to come forward, to lean forward, and if you want, you can lean further forward. And then come up. Swap the legs around. Change any cushions or anything that you do have. And then again. Come forward. And come up. Now from here, we are going to come to the final pose before Shavasana, and I want you to put your mat or whatever you're using up against the wall, and then just come to bring your legs so that they are up against the wall. Bring your hips as close to this corner as possible, and then bring your legs up. Stay here for as long as possible. This is really good for relaxing the legs, the feet, letting the blood drain from the feet. And then once you are finished, once you've had enough, then come to Shavasana and lie in Shavasana for, again, as long as you want. Focus on your breath, focus on your breathing, your quietening of the mind. Come back to inhaling and exhaling if you find your mind is wandering to what you should be doing next. So to come into this position, bring your hips as close to the wall as possible, and then bring the legs up. Have your hands so that the palms are facing up. You can have the feet flopping out. If you want to, you can bring the feet into a diamond. You can have them wide, whatever feels comfortable. You can have a block or something under your hips to raise them a bit. Try out what feels good for you. Inhale and exhale.